So, Prince William basically told Queen Camilla that she doesn't have the final say over the royal jewelry vault. And the fallout from that one decision has apparently left the palace in complete chaos. Like, we're not talking about a minor disagreement over seating arrangements at a state dinner. We're talking about a full-blown power struggle between the future king and the current queen consort. And it all kicked off because of a wedding tiara. The whole thing sounds like something out of a period drama, but the details that have come out since the wedding of Peter Phillips and Harriet Sperling in June of 2026 paint a picture of a family navigating a serious crisis of authority. And honestly, the more you look at the timeline and the specific accusations being thrown around, the more you realize this was never really about a piece of jewelry. It was about who gets to call the shots while King Charles is dealing with his health battle. And the fact that this dispute went semi-public before the guests even arrived at the church in Gloucester tells you just how deep the rift has become. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this royal mess, make sure to subscribe to Royal Insider for all the latest updates. So, here's where the story starts to get weird. Because the wedding itself was supposed to be this low-key, joyful event. Peter Phillips, who is princess and son, was marrying Harriet Sperling, an NHS nurse he met in May of 2024. The ceremony was set for All Saints Church in Cabell, right near Princess Anne's Gackham Park estate, and the guest list included King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Princess Kate. It had all the makings of a perfect royal family moment, the kind of gathering that's supposed to show unity and continuity. But days before the wedding, a dispute erupted that completely shattered that image. The question at the center of it all was deceptively simple. Should Harriet Sperling be allowed to borrow a tiara from the royal collection? Now, to anyone outside that world, this sounds like the most trivial thing imaginable. A bride wants to wear our sparkly headpiece on her wedding day. Who cares? But within the House of Windsor, access to the jewelry vault is not just about looking fancy. It's a deeply symbolic act. A tiara represents an endorsement from the institution. It's a public declaration that the wearer has been accepted, that they belong, that the monarchy has formally embraced them. And according to reports from the Royal Insider Network and the Express, Queen Camilla had significant concerns about whether Harriet met those criteria. The palace source claimed that Camilla's office sought to prevent Harriet from accessing jewels from the royal vault, specifically because of her non-aristocratic background. Let that sink in for a second. In 2026, the debate over whether a bride could wear a tiara on her wedding day was reportedly hinging on bloodline. It's the kind of archaic gatekeeping that feels completely out of step with modern life. But royal watchers will tell you that within that system, these protocols carry immense weight. What makes it even more fascinating is who decided to fight back. It wasn't just the bride and groom pushing for access. Princess Anne, who was famously no-nonsense and not exactly known for getting involved in petty palace drama, became frustrated and turned to her nephew, Prince William, for help. And that's when the situation escalated from a protocol disagreement into a full-blown confrontation. When William got involved, he didn't send a politely worded note through aides. He took decisive action, and the repercussions are still shaking the palace. The issue of tiaras has always been contentious. Royal brides don't just wander into a vault and pick out whatever catches their eye. Access is tightly managed. Permission is strictly required. And the unspoken rules about who may wear what are rooted in decades, sometimes centuries of precedent. The fact that this particular dispute became public before the wedding even took place is a massive indicator of how serious the rift between William and Camilla had already grown. By the time the guests were seated in that Cotswolds church, the tension between the Prince of Wales and the Queen Consort was at an all-time low. So what exactly did William do that was so shocking? Reports say that when he learned about Camilla's move to block Harriet's access to the royal vault, he responded swiftly and loudly. He ordered a complete lockdown of the royal vaults. Now, the purpose of this lockdown wasn't to prevent anyone from entering. It was actually the opposite. It was to ensure that Peter's bride could wear a tiara if princess and decided to lend her one. By locking down the vault, he was essentially overriding the decision made by Camilla's office. He was saying that the authority to grant or deny access didn't rest with the queen consort. The future king of England intervened directly to neutralize his stepmother's power play. And that is a staggering move. This isn't a story about a quiet heir deferring to the established hierarchy. William made his stance painfully clear. He reportedly argued that access to royal heirlooms should be determined by the king, or if King Charles is unable to fulfill that role due to his ongoing health issues, by the first in line to the throne. That's a huge statement. He was essentially positioning himself as the acting authority in matters of royal protocol and family heritage, and Camilla disagreed completely. An insider said William was furious that Camilla had effectively blocked Harriet and Peter from the jewelry collection. William has always had a close bond with his cousin Peter Phillips, and this wedding was deeply personal. This was the son of his beloved aunt and the woman who has been one of the steadiest presences in his life. To deny them access to the family jewels felt like a personal insult, and William wasn't going to let it slide. Camilla, for her part, flat out objected, insisting that they follow protocol. The disagreement became a major talking point leading up to the wedding and surprised even seasoned royal watchers who are accustomed to the family's occasional conflicts. In the end, Harriet Sperling made the decision that probably saved the day. She chose to wear a tiara from the Pragnell family jewelers, the same company that made her engagement ring. On the surface, this looked like a tasteful, independent choice, a bride selecting a piece that had personal meaning rather than historical baggage. But behind the scenes, it was also a remarkably clever way to sidestep the argument that had already strained the relationship between William and Camilla to the breaking point. A source noted that her choice speaks more about her diplomacy than William or Camilla winning. Harriet Sperling, a woman most people outside royal circles didn't even know 6 months prior, managed to navigate a situation created by two of the most powerful figures in the British monarchy. And she did it with grace. But the fact that she had to do it at all reveals a deep dysfunction. To really grasp why this tiara to dispute matters so much, you have to understand a surprising fact about the royal collection. Kate, the Princess of Wales, does not own any of the tiaras she wears. Not the stunning diamond headpiece she wore on her wedding day. Not the popular lover's KN tiara that has become her signature. None of them. All of these tiaras are loans. Queen Elizabeth II initially offered them to Kate, and more recently King Charles III and Queen Camilla have continued that practice. When Kate wears a tiara at a state banquet, she is borrowing something worth millions steeped in history that she must return. This system has a profound impact on the power dynamics within the family. The royal collection is not a personal collection. It is an institutional resource, and whoever controls access to it holds significant influence. That's why Camilla's attempt to limit Harriet's access was so controversial and why William's intervention was so significant. In her 14 years as a member of the royal family, Kate has worn 5 different diamond tiaras on 17 special occasions. These include the Cartier Halo Scroll Tiara, the Lotus Flower Tiara, the Cambridge Lovers KN Tiara, the Strathmore Rose Tiara, and the historic Oriental Circle. Each one has a story connected to the monarchy's history. The Lover's Knot is closely linked to Kate's late mother-in-law, Diana, who received it as a wedding gift from Queen Elizabeth II in 1981. When Kate wears it, she's honoring Diana's memory. That connection is both emotional and material, and it's part of the same collection that Camilla reportedly tried to control. The Cartier Halo tiara worn by Kate on her wedding day in 2011 was made in 1936 when King George V's commissioned Cartier to create it for his wife. Music it was loaned to Kate by Queen Elizabeth as a profound sign of trust. Music the Strathmore Rose Tiara, which Kate wore at a state banquet in South Korea in 2023, was a wedding gift for the late Queen Mother in 1923 and hadn't been worn in public for decades until Kate showcased it. In the royal family, access to these pieces of music is acceptance. When Queen Elizabeth loaned Kate the Cartier Halo for her wedding, it was a significant gesture. Gaining access to Diana's Lover's Knot meant even more. When Queen Camilla attempted to block Harriet from that same system, it raised concerns that William could not ignore. Wearing these tiaras is about more than looking regal. It represents a link between the past and present, music between the institution and the individual. And that's precisely why the struggle over who controls this connection is so significant within the Windsor family. What happened after the wedding was in some ways even more dramatic than the tiara disagreement itself. The ceremony in the Cotswolds went smoothly. The couple married. The royals posed for photos, and there was no public drama. But behind the scenes, the tensions between William and Camilla actually increased. Guests at the wedding noticed the fallout immediately. An insider reported that you could cut the tension between William and Camilla with a knife. They described the atmosphere as civil but ice-cold, with the two barely acknowledging each other. Music it was a display of cold demeanor rather than open conflict. But the message was unmistakable. Then came a major revelation. After the wedding, insiders told reporters that the issue was never really about the tiara at all. Camilla now believes that William is music trying to take charge too soon. She has been sharing with friends that William is refusing to take orders from the king and needs a serious talking to from his father. The most serious accusation is that she believes William acts like he already has the final say and treats Charles's reign as just something to get through until it's his turn. That is a devastating claim to make about the heir to the throne. It suggests William is behaving like a king before he's music officially king. And it paints a picture of a man who is impatient for power music rather than protective of the institution. This issue fits into a larger pattern of rising tensions. Earlier in the year, royal broadcaster Ian Peelham-Turner stated that William had disagreed with King Charles and Queen Camilla about their visit to the United States for the 250th anniversary celebrations. William had concerns about the king's health music during his cancer treatment and felt the trip might be too much for his father, but he was overruled by Queen Camilla. These two incidents are different in their specifics, but share the same underlying tension. Who should make decisions for the king when he is ill? Should it be the queen consort who is committed to supporting Charles and maintaining his schedule, or the heir apparent who believes it's his duty to step in and protect his father from overexertion? The situation highlights the conflicting views within the royal family. a cautious heir worried about a sick parent, and a consort music insisting that the monarch keep working. Camilla is 78 years old. She music spent many years reaching her current role, a journey that was not easy and came with its share of public criticism and personal sacrifices. She is not going to let anyone, including Prince William, undermine what she and Charles had built. Music. This is the Camilla that those close to her describe. Principled, practical about tradition, and music fiercely protective of the monarchy. William's supporters, however, strongly disagree with the view that he is seeking power. Those close to him say he would deny that he's in any rush to rule, but he believes it's his duty to ensure everything runs smoothly. As the next in line, he feels he has the right and the responsibility to lead and to correct mistakes. Two completely different stories are unfolding in one palace. And Music the King, by all accounts, is hesitant to take sides between his wife and his music son. Veteran royal watchers often point out that the current issues with the British royal family aren't really about jewelry. The tiara at Peter Phillips's wedding became music a symbol of a much larger conflict. It highlights questions about who leads the royal family. When the king is music unwell, the queen is protective, and the future king wants more involvement. This is a genuinely significant moment music in British royal history. King Charles III is battling cancer, but music he continues to work and carry out public duties. His illness has created a cloud of uncertainty that both Camilla and William are trying to address music in completely different ways. And those ways are leading to directly conflicting views. Camilla favors continuity. She wants to protect Charles's authority and maintain the monarchy exactly as it is. Music. She believes William should wait his turn and not step into roles that aren't his yet. Music. In her eyes, the heir's role is to be patient. William, however, believes in proactive leadership. He has seen how slow adaptations can harm music institutions and is determined to avoid that. He observed his mother Diana face a system that was against music her, and he has spent years thinking about what kind of king he wants to be. Music. He wants to be a king who takes action and corrects problems without waiting for permission. At 43, William has been the heir to the throne for his entire life. He feels ready to stop waiting and is now making that clear through his actions, music including the recent Tiara incident. Kate's position in all of this is also crucial. She has adapted to the palace system with incredible care, borrowing each tiara she wears and meticulously music following the rules set for her. Yet she stands beside a husband who does not want to accept those same limitations. Their partnership represents a delicate balance of modern ideas with traditional rules, and how that balance holds up under this kind of pressure music is going to be fascinating to watch. This situation raises the most uncomfortable question for the monarchy right now. What happens when the heir and the queen consort music conflict directly? The king is the only one with the power to resolve disputes. But what if he cannot or does not want to step and do music to health, diplomacy, or personal reasons? If King Charles were to reprimand William about the tiara lockdown, sources suggest William wouldn't feel sorry. That's a telling detail. It shows that William believes he was right in his actions and would act the same way again, regardless of royal disapproval. This indicates he may see himself as having moral authority that transcends the formal hierarchy. Whether people view William's actions as driven by strong conviction or by impatience depends entirely on their perspective. What is absolutely clear is that the monarchy is entering a new stage. The tiara dispute at a recent wedding has peeled back the curtain on the changing royal power dynamics. William is asserting himself in ways we haven't seen from an heir in generations. Camilla is standing firm, defending the authority of the crown as she sees it. Charles is caught in the middle trying to manage a family that is quietly but unmistakably dividing. And Kate, music ever composed, remains diplomatic in an evolving monarchy that is trying to figure out whether the future is arriving faster than the present can handle. The reality is that these fractures don't heal easily, and every public appearance from this point forward will be scrutinized for signs of lingering frost between the key players. The question now isn't whether the conflict will resurface, but when, and whether the king will finally be forced to choose a side in a battle that has absolutely nothing to do with diamonds and everything music to do with the very definition of royal authority in a modern age.